Welcome to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be talking about a gourmand fragrance, Italica by Xerjoff, so stay tuned. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more fragrance reviews, clone comparisons, and top lists. So for me personally, gourmands are actually my favorite genre of fragrances, so of course I had to check this one out as I've heard a lot about it. I've heard really good things, and so I finally picked up a decant. I want to give a shout out to Fitch Solid Star for that. Really awesome to get my hands on this. So, Italica. Italica is an exclusive to Harvey Nichols, which means it's basically only available in Europe. This makes it a little hard to get, which is one of the reasons why I haven't gotten this sooner, despite having heard so many good things about it. And this was released in 2016. The top notes are saffron, almond, and milky notes. The middle notes are vanilla and toffee, and the base notes are cedarwood, sandalwood, and white musks. The opening for this one really is quite something. So this was another one of these fragrances that for me was love at first sniff. It is this really nice, creamy, milky biscuit that comes off with a little bit of a strawberry in the opening as well, even though that's not actually a listed note. I find this to be really actually very sensual and very invigorating, and I really do enjoy it a lot. And the biscuit itself comes off not particularly dry, more like, I wouldn't say moist, but sort of perfectly baked where it's not too dry and it's not too moist. So it's a very nice baked biscuit, smells very fresh. There's a lot of sweetness with that vanilla and that toffee biscuit, and there is that almond note and the milky notes also creating a nice creaminess. This is a fairly linear scent, so when this does dry down, basically the big difference for me is the strawberry basically disappears. And this becomes a very nice, milky, creamy biscuit that tastes or smells absolutely delicious. So again, I love gourmands. They're very sensual and they're very delicious. This comes off as a very sensual, delicious fragrance from start to finish, even if it is somewhat linear. Now, the performance on this one is also quite good. So I will say I get pretty beast mode sillage. Mostly I find a lot of fragrances that I might catch an occasional whiff here and there, but if I'm not trying to smell it, I don't really smell it. So with this one, however, I did get 2-3 hours catching whiffs all through the night when I did wear this one. And so it has very strong sillage. I didn't really experience going nose blind to this, which is great. I like it when I can smell myself. That is primarily the reason why I like to wear the fragrances that I like, is that I like to smell them. And so this has really good sillage. It also has good projection for the first 2-3 hours, where it's a nice cloud. It's not crazy projection, but if you are near someone, they're going to smell it, and it does smell delicious. This is really easy to like, and I think a lot of people will like to smell this one. Longevity is also good. I get about 8 hours on my skin, which is nice. I don't have any real complaints with that longevity. It does die down a little bit to closer to a skin scent. Not quite, but certainly not as loud as in the first 2-3 hours. Overall, I find this to be quite an intoxicating fragrance. It's very sensual, very delicious, and the sillage that it creates is really quite exhilarating and really does sort of draw me into this one. This is, as I mentioned, one that I certainly fell in love with the moment I sniffed it, and all through the time I was wearing it, I was able to enjoy this fragrance quite a bit, and I certainly did like this one. I also like this one because it does have a little bit of uniqueness. A lot of gourmands focus on things like coffee and chocolate, and while I do love those notes and I enjoy a lot of great fragrances with those notes, it's also nice to experience something different, something a little more unique. And I feel like this definitely has a uniqueness factor to it that a lot of other gourmand fragrances don't have. And so for that, it definitely also gets points. So it smells really amazing, and it does have this uniqueness quality, which makes it a really nice fragrance to wear. The ingredients are very high quality, it's very smooth, it has this very silky, creamy kind of a texture to it all throughout the life of the fragrance. And for me personally, as a gourmand lover, this is one that I really, really enjoy wearing. And when I do get the opportunity, I am going to definitely be picking up a bottle of this one. It's also, I would say, I think a little bit nice because there is a certain, I guess, exclusivity factor that this is something that you're not going to smell on anybody else because of the fact that it is only really available in Europe. So not that many people in North America will have this one, and so it has this doubly unique quality in that it's not something a lot of other people are wearing. Because this is a European exclusive for Harvey Nichols, it is a little bit harder to get, but it is, in my opinion, worth it if you can find it at a reasonable price. Personally, I think this should be definitely able to be found in the price range of a Kilian. So, I wouldn't say this should be outrageously priced, but if you're paying something like you would pay for Black Phantom, I think this is on par, certainly, with that price point. And if you can find it for a reasonable price, I think it's worth it. Now, because this one is sweet and quite creamy, I think it's best suited for colder weather. It might become a little bit too much and too cloying in the heat, but I also think this is one that if you're staying in, you're cuddling, whatever, that kind of situation, this is one that's going to make you smell really delicious, really going to make people want to cuddle up to you, and in a client-controlled environment, it's certainly easy to wear. So it has that sensual, really warm and desirable aspect to it that also lends itself well, I think, to those situations. So all in all, this is a really great fragrance. I'm very, very happy that I got a decant. The hype was obviously very high for me when I did hear about this one, and I'm happy to say it didn't disappoint me. So guys, if you haven't got your nose on this one, do check it out. It is Italica by Xerjoff. What's your favorite gourmand, guys? Leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.